Hi. The assignment for this week was to discuss three things: your own personal golden rule of counseling, one Bible verse or spiritual quotation that supports social justice, and one action I'm willing to take towards social justice. So I wanted to start with my personal golden rule of counseling, and it's something I also apply to my life, and that is always treat people through the eyes of grace, or always see people through the eyes of grace. A lot of times we look at people and condemn them just by looking at them, or maybe some of their actions. They made some bad decisions when they were younger or previously in their life, and we tend to look at them and just kind of push them off. But it's not what Jesus did, and that's not what I want to do. I want to look at people through the same eyes that Jesus viewed people, and he went to the worst types of people and still looked at them and loved them and showed that they cared or that they mattered to him. So that's what I want to do in my counseling career and also in my life as I've tried to practice it. Um, excuse me. The verse that I've got is from James chapter 1, verses 26 to 27. It says, "If anyone thinks himself to be religious and yet does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's religion is worthless. Pure and undefiled religion in the sight of our God and Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world." And when James was writing this, in the culture that they lived in, the orphans and widows were the outcasts of society. They were completely helpless. And if you were an orphan, you couldn't care for yourself. If you were a widow, you still couldn't care for yourself, even though if you were an adult, it didn't matter because the women didn't have the rights that we have in America nowadays. So if you were an orphan or a widow, you had to completely rely on someone else for help. So when James was writing to the congregation, he said, if you really want to show that you have pure religion, you need to go and visit these orphans and widows and care for them and do these kind of things. And I believe that applies nowadays. The equivalent is dealing with, maybe unwed mothers or single parents, people who are trying to make a living and can't quite make it. It looks a little different. You can still be a single mom and be able to support yourself, but it's not easy. You still have to take care of your kids. You have to try and work and juggle all that stuff. So, in my mind, my interpretation of this verse, we need to look towards those kind of people, those that need help um, with parenting, with things like that, and that is what our modern day orphans or our modern day widows. Orphans are still the same. I mean, we used to have kids in foster care. They need help, and sometimes kids have parents, but their parents aren't. They are physically there, but they're not emotionally there. So we need to step up and be the parents that those kids need. Um, One thing that I would like to do, it relates to that verse as far as my social justice cause, is I would like to start a ministry either in a as my personal counseling for free for these unwed mothers or for single parents, single mothers, single fathers, even, and try and help them with parenting. Since I am going for marriage and family therapy, I believe that would be appropriate. And I wasn't sure if the assignment meant just in counseling or in life in general. So I also think it would be neat to start church groups that focused on this as well.